Who are your top 3 sprinters of all time?
Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. So like I said, I got my speed coach here. I'm gonna have him tell you a little bit about his journey, how he's trusted the seat in his process. Unique being an athlete, as well as, turning into a trainer, still an athlete, still trains to this day. But I kind of wanted him to tell y'all his story. I like to tell everybody, I have a tribe. I got Coop, Storm, Radir, I got Massage, I got everybody that I kind of create like a family that I trust. I hit him up about stuff. He's literally helped me revamp my game for the USFL. Part of the reason, one of the pieces of the puzzle to help me make all USFL this past season in 2023. But I want him to kind of tell a little bit about his journey, because not only is he just like a speed coach, but he's a father, as well as he has his business where he's training and obviously has goals and aspirations. And we've had a lot of deep conversations just about the value and the importance of business. Without further ado, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and then from there I'm gonna ask him a few questions, kind of freestyle it, and let him tell y'all a little bit about his journey with finances and as well as his business. So without further ado, bro, can you tell the people your first and last name and what you do?
Yep, my name is Radir Annoor, and I'm the Director of Speed Development here at X3 Performance.
So we're gonna hop straight into it. My first question is, what has made your journey difficult? Let's start with as an athlete, and how did you overcome that, or kind of what was the mindset that you had to have as an athlete?
I would say overcoming the political side of team sports. Me being such a self-driven person, self-motivated person, I've always been somebody that's valued being the best version of myself. But a lot of times in the game of football, especially when you get to college and try to pursue a professional level playing, I feel like you run into things where it's out of your control in some aspects. You can do everything right. You feel like you can prepare yourself, fully, and sometimes you don't get that shot. So the biggest thing was always just being content with the work I do and put in, and don't compare my value to what somebody else says about me as an athlete or a person. So always just embodying that journey of being the best version of yourself, whether that be an athlete, whether it be a father, whether it be a businessman or whatever.
Okay. For the people that don't know, Radir was a player and then converted to being a coach. Right? That's very difficult for a lot of people. He's extremely athletic, y'all. Y'all don't know, right? So he can still get out there and play if he wanted to, trust me. But my question is, what made you make that pivot? And was that something that was difficult? Because for a lot of people, they struggle with giving up the game, whether it's track, as he's a track athlete, whether it be football, basketball, hockey, whatever the sport is, it's difficult, especially when you're so gifted, because you kind of tell people how you were able to do that and, kind of talk about the mindset that it took to be able to make that change in your life.
Yeah, during that transition, I was actually coaching. My dad has a summer track club that I was helping coach in the summer, and along that path, I ran into some athletes that I was coaching at the time. And that offseason, the first offseason we had, my first year coaching, I had 3 or 4 athletes come hit me up and ask for additional training. And me at the time, I was like, I'm not really ready for this step. I want to focus on myself, but I just had so many conversations with God, and I felt like I needed to be used as a mentor first and foremost. And at the time, of course, I was still training, and I looked at it as me being the ultimate leader by example. So if I'm out there doing this every day and perfecting my craft and doing the things I'm preaching to them, I was like, I have to step into a space where I train. And so long story short, I was training people for free because I enjoyed it so much, and I just felt so fulfilled in that moment, more so than I did chasing that dream of playing football. I really just loved the mentality that I was able to instill in them, and just the perception that I got from them. It's life-changing. You have athletes that don't believe in themselves in that moment. They have a lot of doubts. And for you to be able to step in, mentor them, spend a lot of time with them, and pull so much out of them to where they're now able to achieve way more than they ever expected beforehand, it's a blessing. And that alone is why I'm here today.
So you talked about something. I always preach about providing value first, giving your services or your product away for free, for people to give you testimonials, for people to say that, your process works. So my question is, what was that transition for you? What made you say okay, cool, I can charge people? Was it the testimonials? Was it the feedback? And then, if you can, how long was it before you started charging people for your services?
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that long. I got into this thing where I started recording my workouts, started just providing value in every way I could, and it caught wind. I had a couple of former teammates I played with that were playing in the CFL. I had a brother I played Little League ball with, Keenan Reynolds, who had a great college career. I think he still holds a lot of NCAA records. He hit me up out of the blue and was like, hey man, it's about time you started training. So I was like, okay, hey, come out, man, I got you. So he came out there, man, and for him to trust me in that phase of my career and that phase of my development as a coach, it just spoke volumes. And so long story short, Keenan trained with me for 6 weeks before he made that transition to the XFL. We got him a lot faster. He was able to translate that speed to his performances in the game. And that alone was opened my eyes. I was like, man, I don't even have a philosophy yet. I don't have anything set in stone. I'm just kind of going off of intuition and always asking what would I do in this situation. And it turned out to work beautifully. And that alone, man, that was that stepping stone for me.
And when you started with the business, my question to you is, did you worry about having all your ducks in a row? Did you worry about making sure, okay, cool, you know, I got an LLC, I got all these things, or did you just hop into it? Because what I tell people is a lot of times you gotta get the momentum going first. You know, you gotta just put your foot out there, figure out things as you go. Yes, there is, you know, you should make sure you have all your documents. I'm not saying that you go into the process not properly like prepared, but my question to you is like, when you got started, were you just truly, like you said, focusing on pushing the value? And when did you kind of start saying, all right, I'm gonna turn this into a business and start monetizing it as much as you wanted to?
I would say when I started getting, I call it proof of concept, when I'm spending my time doing day in and day out is yielding results for people. At that point, I was like, hey, I need to start charging, A, but B, I need to get serious about content and form a business concept or personal brand around this. So that's why the name Hope Flash, it comes from that. It's an embodiment of what I've always felt I embody as an athlete and a person. Fast, physical, explosive as an athlete. And that mentality of like everything is explosive. Everything is just locked in and intense. And so that's kind of, I call it my alter ego. Like when I'm training, Tarp sees me, I'm locked in. I'm on a different level. And that started everything business-wise. I used that as a personal brand. And then from there, I was like, hey, let's take this thing to the top and let's really try to reach more people on the business side and provide value year by year.
I have another question too. So in regards to business, what's the best advice that somebody's given you in business? Like what's kind of something that, obviously we hear a lot of mantras in football through playing. We're hearing all sorts of different things, from trust the process to be where your feet are at, etc. But what is the best advice you've received in business that you're currently still implementing right now?
I would say the best quote I heard came from Ed Milet. He said something along the lines of, business is a personal development journey with a hell of a compensation plan attached to it. So it's always about your personal journey. You got to always better yourself, always be strong in your faith, always be looking for things to better yourself and grow your knowledge as a person, but also in your profession. So I take that to heart, always looking to grow my knowledge and expand upon what I currently know.
And you know, I'm a huge believer in credit. Obviously, I built my business off of business credit. I was able to grow and scale our business fast because of that. But if you could, my question is, when you do pay for things, do you use cash or do you use credit cards, and why?
I would say the last 6 months or so, I've been using credit for almost all of my expenses, almost everything I pay for. So I'm pretty much at this point, even my rent is being paid with a credit card. And I think I wanted to thank Tarp for that too, because he opened the door for that conversation as far as what credit is and the different facets of it. Because there are different facets of it, and there's benefits to using credit cards, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, in the next question. But yeah, I think using credit cards has a lot of benefits, and I've been reaping the benefits the last 6 months of using credit cards.
Okay, and just so we hop right into it, what are some of those benefits that you've seen from utilizing that credit card, and like, how have you kind of leveraged that for yourself?
I would say the rewards points. I've already been on 2 trips thanks to rewards points, being racked up. And the second thing is, because I now have a value for personal credit, I'm now able to leverage that personal credit to get business funding now, which is huge. A lot of the stepping stones and the hurdles people have to get over in business initially is capital. And people don't realize that you don't have to be in business 2+ years, whatever the general criteria you hear. You don't have to meet those standards. You can actually leverage your personal credit to build your business credit and build that funding for your business, so that you can then pour that into marketing, pour that into content creation, the things that yield a big return in the long run.
He did give me some credit, but because I do want to point out something, before we met, he was already getting his credit in line. He was already on top of it. So if you could grow your credit and make sure that you repair it, you could repair it yourself, by buying an ebook, buying a course. You could pay somebody to do it. Is another way that you can also build your credit. Could you walk people through your journey with building credit? Did you always have good credit? Was it ever bad? And what did you kind of do to put yourself in a position to where you, like you said, you can go on 2 trips now just by using rewards points?
I was always a responsible person, so I was always paying things on time, but I never was somebody that checked my credit score. I didn't realize the benefits of what a credit score could give you on the back end. So I was like, okay, I know I got to pay my bills, but I didn't know it was always attached to, hey, if I pay my bills on time consistently over the years, my credit score will go up. I would say that was the biggest thing, was learning that there are perks out there. And sometimes you grow up and, your parents do things a certain way. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way because you watch them closely and you pick up on their habits and et cetera. So I was always taught that, credit cards are only used in an emergency. So I never had one. I think my first credit card I didn't get until 3 years outside of college. Even that credit card, I had it, but I never used it. It was just sitting in my wallet because I was scared to use it. I was like, hey, I got the money. I don't even want to use it because I got the money in my checking account. So why use the credit card? And I would say the first conversation that I really had about credit, I would honestly say it was with Tarp, as far as opening my eyes to the nuances of it. And I just think it's mind-blowing the different things you can learn about it. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of that process.
My last question is, do you have any questions for me? And if you don't, then we can go ahead and wrap it up.
Who's your top 3 sprinters of all time?
Oh my goodness. All right. Obviously Usain Bolt. I like Johan Blake. And then I want to say Tyson. That's probably going to be my 3. I'm not too big in like hurdles or anything like that, so I ain't going to name nobody like that. But yeah, that's what I got.
Nice. I agree with 2 out of 3 right there. I agree.
Who's the one you don't agree with? And tell us why.
Probably Johan. Probably Johan. Obviously, he's second in history in the 100 and 200. Can't knock that. The only thing I knock for him is showing up in the big meets. He's run fast. He just hasn't done it consistently enough in the Olympics or the World Championships. That's why I will put somebody like a Maurice Green or even Justin Gatlin over him. But I mean, you can't go wrong with that list. As far as hey, who are the fastest ever? You just named the top 3 fastest ever. So can't go wrong with that list.
Well, appreciate my dog tapping in with me, man. Thank you. For sure. Like I said, y'all tap into the episode. We got more content coming for y'all. Like I said, it's trust to see. Regardless of what happens in the process, man, you got to keep going. I think the biggest thing for me is right now, like I said, I had a workout a few weeks ago with Green Bay. That was a blessing answer. You know, that was 6 years I was waiting for somebody to believe in me. So who knows what's going to happen. I keep looking at September 18th. So anything can happen, but you know, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep believing. It gets hard. I ain't gonna lie. I've been gone for a minute. I ain't even talked to my boy Marlo in like a year, bro. Cause I ain't gonna lie. It's been difficult to, stay faithful, stay consistent, but got to do it. A lot of people have been asking me, where's the content at? Where's everything at that you believe in and that you're telling people, to keep pressing towards even when it looks difficult for you. Even when you feel like all the stars are supposed to align and they don't. But at the end of the day, you got to keep going. You got to keep believing. So by the time y'all see this, and if you're watching this in the future, it could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Just be encouragement, man, to keep going. Eden told his story. Y'all watching my story. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Like I said, we'll catch y'all next time. Be out.